Minasan, McMegane here, and we are back with another deck list. And if you guys already see the thumbnail by then, you will notice that it's Baromagnes again. Well, there is a reason why I'm willing to make another deck list so soon because of how much the deck has changed over just one single booster, because essentially one single card. A few, but you know, the mainly it's just a single card that really pushed me to play very differently from how I used to back in BT06. And I hope this is a good deck list for you guys to try it out as well. Yeah, if you guys enjoy this kind of content, consider like, share, subscribe to this channel, and you know, ring that bell to hear up with all the notification. And also, if you guys want to see me tasting some of the newer cards live, check me out on Friday at Twitch at twitch.com/McMeganevg. And without further ado, let's get into it. So let's start off with the right deck because you know there's a change in there as well. So the biggest change from the right deck is essentially I replaced Sonica with Pony. Here's the reason why. The biggest issue back in BT06 was over soul charging, and I feel that running Pony is actually quite detrimental to your playstyle because of the fact that you will eventually over soul charge, and that will kind of force your deck to run out faster. And yes, you do have Kili Rudley, but that's still a counter blast, and Baro do use a lot of them. So this is just there as a backup. I always say already before that Flaming Pony is such an amazing card to run as a starter, but depend on what deck you play, it may or may not be strong as it can be varied. And in this particular build, I feel that having a Pony as an insurance is better than having a Sonica as a rusher, because the deck has enough firepower to actually compensate not running Sonica already. And yeah, that's pretty much the right deck. And then let's move on to the grade 3 first, and then move all the way down to grade 0. So starting off with grade 3, we still run 4 Curtis because this is one of the most important part of the deck. Ability to just get a body that can hit anything without any power boost, and as long as there's no defensive, and ability to just get a free soul charge too is pretty insane, and it does synergize very well with the other card in the deck. But this is where it gets interesting because I decide not to go for any personal right in this build because of this card, Baromagnes Reversal. So for those who don't know what it does, essentially you only can use this as when you have a Baromagnes Vanguard, counter blast 1, soul charge 3, and your Vanguard gets, if your soul has 10 or more, for the rest of this turn, your front row plus 5k. So it's essentially a pseudo personal right with a soul charge. Yes, counter blast 1 can be a little bit more expensive, and I think this is one of the biggest weaknesses of this deck being very counter blast heavy. But I feel that the reward is very strong, especially if you start looking into like the grade 2 where most of the technical unit is at. And in general, I just like this a lot over just like having this one card in your hand that can be a brick for the rest of the game. This is always being very useful provided you have a counter blast, but personal right is, I feel, a little bit awkward, at least in this particular build. And then we move on to the grade 2s where some of the cards you will see are more or less like a staple in Baro. But there is a few new cards that, well, okay, that's the one new card in this grade 2 lineup that really changed with the way I play Baromagnes, and I personally like this playstyle a lot is because it's really embraced the meme Unga Bunga.
Spicy.
So first we have 4 Engraver, very strong technical card, and really helps to tie everything in this deck together. If you don't have spare copy in soul, try not to discard it for a right cause or something like that. Then we have 3 Shiagra, still a very strong utility card. Ability to just fetch anything back from Soul means that like you can just extend your gameplay with ability to just activate additional order or just like add the PG back or over trigger back to hand for a defensive purpose. And then we have 2 Kili Rudley, which is both utility and beastic. I haven't been using this unit as much because of the new cards, but it is still a very good backup to have, especially if your opponent decided to play a long game. And this is where it gets interesting, so I'm gonna shift this away. I run 3 Lilac Rusher. So for those who don't know what Lilac does, essentially as long as you have Baro Vanguard, when he attacks, plus 2k for every cards in your soul.
Damn, boy, he's thick!
Do know that he's a 2k base. But here's the thing about Lilac that it fixed that the BT06 isn't really able to, is the fact that it fixed the problem of oversoul charging.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
You see, back in the BT06 when Amandine released, Amandine really helps the Baromagnes to be able to factor it to 15 soul very quickly. But here's the problem. There is almost zero way for you to utilize those multiple soul that you soul charge, with the exception of Brainwash, but that thing also only lasts for like 1 or 2 attacks. It doesn't restack. It went into soul and core, so you're losing all that stacks. This is a way for you, for Baromagnes, to have a very consistent 30 to 40k swing, or some occasionally can hit even 50k, without relying on doing any big gameplay, because all you need is just having this on the field, having your Baro Vanguard, and just attack. And that is where this card excels. It's a very first free B-stick that Baro really needs, because you know, sometimes all you need is just a very fast free B-stick that doesn't really do much, that really make it really strong. And this is really, and after through rough testing, this card really helps. Of course, if you are going for the Unga build, of course this is the best, but if you want to go for more consistent build, I would say that it is not a bad choice, but I do feel that you do lose on ability to pressure the opponent very heavily, with ability to just force the opponent to guard at least 1-2 cards by turn 3. That's how rushed this deck is. This particular deck list is. And yeah, to each their own, I would say. So 3 Lilac for me. I feel like running 4 is a little bit tricky, because you wouldn't be able to run some of the utility you need in the deck, so 3 feels right. Then moving on to grade 1. Well, there's something special for it. It's more or less very much the same as the BT06 build. So there you have one elementary solitude, which is if you're playing competitive, you can have this. You must run this. If you play casual, it's optional, but it helps a lot. It really helps, especially with ability to just PG without need to worry about any restriction. That's the reason why GG Guardian is such a strong mechanic. Then we have the other 3 PGs. For Amandine, I think I run 3 in the previous deck list, but I decided to run 4 now because you are losing 1 slot to you're losing Sonica in the deck in the process in the trade for the pony. So having more Amandine will be very helpful, and also you need that Amandine to hit your head even more so now. So because of that, running 4, I feel it just feels right, because you can just get a very solid beasting with just this card alone. You don't need to care about the counterblast effect after you already hit 50. And last copy, this is where I would say adjust accordingly, because there are cards that can replace this, but this is still a base form of offense if you want to play the deck properly, and that is Brainwash. I'm fully aware that Brainwash are going for really high price right now, so there are some alternatives, right? Gungunugram. Okay, I don't know how to pronounce that name after so long.
Gungram. Ganyan Ram.
But yeah, that card, and then we have the brand new McMegane. So these 2 cards are essentially your budget version of Brainwash, and each of them does have a bit of different utility you can use of. Like Gungunugram has ability to just get free draw per turn, so you can do a bit of free draw just so that like maybe it helps you to play defensively for the longer game. McMegane is essentially +2, so when placed you call, you just soul charge 1, and you can just activate his skill just to put himself into soul, and not calling McMegane grade 3 out, just so that you can get that additional soul. So that's essentially what you can do multiple things with it. But for now, I think personally this is like the best lineups. Of course, there is like a few new trick key card that you can really run in the BT07, but I feel like it kind of lack, how to say, there's too much acrobat going on, and this is like very simple but very effective. So like not too much of like fast free here. Like I can just like hit 15, I rush, maybe I win. If I cannot win, then I can scoop. Like I mean like it's a kind of a game that really makes opponent feel happy also, cause you don't need to take too long to finish the game, so they can race a bit. So it's a bit of a brain dead deck, but at the same time it helps the opponent to conserve the energy also. And then we have triggers, and it's more or less the same as a previous deck list that I made. So like double of the two each of the counter heal. Personally for me, I still cause like the fact that having a double of 2 of each is good enough to counter multiple of the decks already. The over trigger, and then of course the 7 crits and the 4 draws. So very simple. You need draws to pull into your piece. If you can hit the draws early, you pull into your piece and you have draw as a ready cost. And crit is just there to just push, because like now you have a very consistent beast stick like Lilac. Crit is even more so than it used to be, but you still need more draw, because you know the deck doesn't draw as much until hit turn 3, which means that you are prone to rush, and that is the biggest issue with this deck. And yeah, that is all about my new deck list. And I decided to, by the time I upload this, it would be after WGP already, so I feel confident to be able to share it. Well, I don't know how well I will do on WGP itself, because this was recorded before, like a few days before I go into WGP. WGP, but I hope that this help you guys on building the ultimate Baromagnes deck. I feel like this is the peak of Baro already, and anything that added to it better be really good. I feel like now the Lilac has set the new Baro support standards very highly, and so far, and because of that, I feel that like it's time for Bushido to decide to be a little bit more friendly with Baro and give the support that it really need, because of how a lot of decks in the meta now are very able to rush on the same turn that Baro is able to rush at the least amount of resource. But what do you guys think? Comments down below of what you guys think about it, and if you enjoyed this content, once again, like this video, and you know, share around to help me to, you know, reach out, and of course subscribe is the best way you can support me. And yeah, that's all I have for today. Take care of yourself, and this is McMegane signing out.